Welcome to HCS Talks. I'm your host, Superintendent of Hampton City Schools, Raymond Haynes. This is our second season of Hampton City Schools podcast, HCS Talks. Our aim is to educate, inform, and entertain not only our local community, but also listeners beyond. Each episode explores a range of topics, including education, student achievement, and the efforts of our teachers, support staff, parents, and community partners. We will also highlight various programs, initiatives, and more, providing valuable and insightful content for everyone. To our loyal listeners, thank you for tuning in. If this is your first time listening to our podcast, thank you for joining us. We hope you will stay tuned and continue listening to HCS Talks. Today, I had the opportunity to sit down with Mr. Richard Fortune, our Hampton City Schools Director of Athletics. I'm looking forward to not only discussing our athletic programs, but the benefits of an athletic program as well. So thank you, Mr. Fortune, for joining us today. Before we begin, would you please tell the listening audience a little bit about yourself?
Good morning, Dr. Hayes. First of all, I would like to thank the school board and Dr. Hayes for all your support for athletics. Without you guys' support, this would not happen. And also Ms. Pollard, the Chief of Secretary of Education, who's also my boss, for supporting me in this endeavor. Again, just a little bit of background about myself. I always like to include my family in whatever I do, but my wife, Tawana, who's been my backbone, and she's a graduate of Hampton University. My oldest daughter, Lauren, and she's blessed me with two grandkids, Trey and Logan, and her husband, Eric. My son, RJ, who graduated from JMU as well, and my youngest, who just graduated from Virginia State, who is a special ed teacher over in Chesapeake now, and she's following her dad's footsteps as a coach over there at Oscar Smith.
What does she coach?
She coaches volleyball.
Did she realize that Hampton has a school system she could have been teaching in as well?
She had a guaranteed contract there in Chesapeake.
We can guarantee things too. How long has she been there, sir?
She just started.
Just started?
Yes.
So there's time for her to change her mind and make that wise decision. We certainly appreciate and respect Chesapeake Public Schools and think very highly of the superintendent there, but I also want to be a champion and advocate for our school division as well. So you,
as always,
make certain that your daughter at least checks us out to determine whether or not this is a good place for her to continue her career as well.
Sounds good.
So, Mr. Fortune, are you from this area?
No, I grew up in Caroline County. I went to school at Caroline County High School, which is located in Milford, Virginia there. As a student there, I played football, basketball, and baseball for the teams there at Caroline.
Were you any good?
Yes, sir. I thought I was pretty good there.
Did you play in college?
Yes, I played baseball in college at Virginia State University. I attended Big State.
Big State?
Yes.
So did you have a scholarship or you just went there? Or?
No, I just decided I wanted to go there and follow my family footsteps.
And you played baseball the entire time?
Yes.
Basketball? Anything else?
No,
just
I
baseball.
didn't. I just had to give up two of them and just stick with baseball.
How about coaching? What did you coach after college? What did you do?
After college, I started coaching at Caroline High School. I was offered assistant coaching position on the basketball team, and then I was recruited to be assistant coach on the football team. So I was coaching football and basketball there at Caroline. Once the head coach from basketball decided to go in administration, I was appointed the head coach for the basketball team at Caroline.
Boys or girls?
Boys.
Okay. How long did you coach?
Probably 14 years there.
14 years?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Still have connections and relationships with your former athletes?
Oh, yes,
Caroline?
I do. And that's a special moment, too. You know, I'm always there to celebrate the birthdays with them and to follow them in their career goals and what they're doing and their families. So it's a great time just to see them be successful.
Yes, sir. So after your time in Caroline County, what did you do after that?
Then I became a college coach on the women's side. My first job was at the University of Central Florida, where I coached women's basketball there. I was there probably for 2 years. Then I moved back to Virginia, and I started coaching at Old Dominion University. I stayed there for 3 years.
Girls? Women,
Girls.
I'm sorry.
Yes, women's.
Basketball?
Yeah, basketball
Okay.
there. Then I was approached away by Virginia Commonwealth University, so I went there for additional 2 years. But then I kind of was away from my family a lot because they stayed in this area because the kids had established themselves in
Yes,
school
sir.
here, so I didn't want to
Want
move
to
there.
maintain that stability.
So being away from them, and then I decided I wanted to come back, so I came back to ODU.
Okay. So from ODU, what were your next steps?
Next step, I started missing my kids. They were getting involved in athletics at the time, and on the road as a college coach, you're gone a lot. So I wanted to spend more time with them and watch them participate. But I knew I wanted to stay in athletics. So a position became available in Hampton, so I applied for the position as athletic director at Hampton High School.
Grabbers.
Yes, so I got the job there, and it's been a blessing.
Yes,
It
sir.
was great. I was around athletics. It gave me the opportunity to also get home to see my kids participate. So it was just an exciting time for me.
All right. Well, we're glad you're here in Hampton City Schools, and not just glad you're here, but glad you chose to stay. You had
Yes.
a little stint where you
Yeah.
left for a minute, but you realized the error of your ways and came back home to us. And we hope that you will end your career in some years down the line here with Hampton City Schools.
Yes, that's the plan.
Yes, sir. So, Coach, can you share some insight into your role as the Director of Athletics for our school division and what your day-to-day responsibilities sort of kind of look like?
Mainly my job here is to provide guidance and leadership for the athletic program here in Hampton City Schools. The days are always different, This fall season with football, as you know, we have 4 teams that share one stadium.
Right.
So that's a busy time for me. A typical day on a Monday, for example, I spend a lot of time doing inventory, preparing and ordering supplies and stuff for the upcoming week. I spend a lot of time, making sure my workers are all situated for the week because we could have 3 games. So I make sure I have workers there. I'm meeting with city staff to make sure the field is inspected and everything is good to go. Also, we have middle school sports going on, so I'm in charge of that as well too. So we have games pretty much going on at the same time. So I have to do field inspections for there, meeting with city to make sure the field's aligned, and communicating with transportation, and also it's a lot that goes on throughout the day, and you're constantly communicating with the athletic directors, with officials, with transportation, other departments.
Right.
Yeah.
And I know, just based on time that we have with the podcast, can you just talk a little bit about some of the programs we offer in Hampton City Schools?
Oh, I'm
You
excited.
mentioned middle school athletics, but just talk about what particular sports middle and high schools offer, and just, I guess, your overall role in supporting all of this as well.
Yes, at middle school now I'm excited that we've added 2 new sports, and that is track and cheer leading. So currently we're in our soccer season. We move on to track in October. In our winter seasons, we will start cheer, volleyball, and basketball. So we're excited about
For
that.
middle school.
Yes, that's for middle school.
Okay.
Now, on a high school level, in the fall season, we have football, boys and girls volleyball, golf, and cross country. Moving on to our winter season, we're offering swim, wrestling, boys and girls basketball. And moving to the spring season, that's when we have a baseball, softball, boys and girls soccer, boys and girls tennis, and am I missing one? Did I say soccer?
Yes.
Soccer, yeah.
We have gaming, too.
And
right?
that's what that. Gaming is a 2-sport season. That is offered in the fall, and the second part is in the spring.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's a sport that's really coming
Taking
on.
off,
Yes.
I know we've implemented that, I think, within the last few years or
Yes,
so, and I know
yes.
it's going to continue to grow as well.
Yes. We're excited about that.
So in your opinion, how do athletics contribute to the overall development of students, both on and off the field?
I think it increases the kids' self-esteem. You got a lot of kids who are alone, but once they, get within a group, they're learning different things, fair play, teamwork, so they gain friendships through different sports and all, their emotional intelligence increased. They learn the highs and lows of winning, how to deal with the losing and all. So I think it gives them, make them a well-rounded student. Yeah.
In your experience as a coach and now the director of athletics, what type of things do you look for in an athlete, aside from the fact that they may be skilled in the particular sport? What other things do you look for in the total athlete? That
a person that's disciplined. You need to have some discipline. You need to have integrity. You know, we want to look for those characteristic traits of a good athlete. You know, everybody can be athletic, but, you know, you need to have that discipline. You need to be able to be coached, have structure with that. So I think that's important. You know?
One of the things that I've found to be just advantageous when you're looking at a student athlete is his or her ability to reach out and help others and make other folks around them better.
Yes.
But also serve, particularly at the high school, come back to the middle and elementary schools and talk about being a good role model and a good sport and recognizing the camaraderie that comes about as a result of being a part of a team. So we look for those things as well, character development. Anybody, you can have a skill and be very talented, but you also look at the person as a whole, coupled with how they're performing academically.
Yes.
Are you really the true definition of a student athlete? And that's what we look forward to. So, Coach, what safety measures are in place to ensure student athletes are protected from injuries, especially with the contact sports or even on extremely hot days?
Yes. One of the things, and I brought this from my collegiate level, is we try to involve our athletic trainers in drills that coaches do, because this way we can prevent a lot of injuries. Because we had a lot of kids that will get hurt doing drills, you know, because things they're not doing properly, whether a running technique or certain things. We do run into hot days. We have our heat monitors that monitor that at each school. Athletic trainers all have those. So they set those out and start monitoring the heat. And we have protocols that we go through. If the temperature is a certain degree, we can, you know, only have, you know, no equipment on, or one day just maybe have helmets on. So it varies. We have body pods, we call them the ice pods, that if a kid overheats or something, that we can put the kid inside this ice pod. Is filled with ice and water to bring their temperature down. So, yes, that's pretty new. I believe it's 2 years ago. Yeah.
About 2 years ago?
Yeah.
Yeah. So in terms of, I know I mentioned the contact sports, do we look at upgrading the equipment as it dictates us to do so? I know they constantly are looking for ways to further enhance the safety when it comes to pads and helmets. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yes, I think the National Federation of High Schools have also, they keep increasing the helmets to make them more safe and all, but it's a contact sport, so, you know, injuries will happen. I think one thing the coaches are doing is good. They're limiting the contact within practice, because you don't want to do a lot of contact in practice. Now you're going to do all this contact in a game as well. So I think our coaches are doing a great job of teaching better tackling techniques and all, and that's been helping out.
And I noticed they, you know, ways folks used to tackle years ago are now, you know,
a little different.
But also recognizing the equipment that they're wearing today is different from maybe 5 years ago and definitely 10 years ago. So we are certainly making strides towards that. So, in your opinion, how has the landscape of school sports changed over the years, and what challenges or opportunities do you foresee for the future?
Oh, God, I think the number one is social media. Social media has definitely changed the landscape. You know, everybody wants to be out there on the social media scene there. We have athletes hiring companies to videotape them and all and put them on a little podcast on their own. I think we're having an increase on the positive side. I think we're having an increase in women's sports and popularity with that. Basketball has really blown up for women's sport. The big thing now, and I think we will see this coming down the road with VHSL, is flag football for women. Wow. That's really growing. So I think that's going to be one of the sports that you see VHSL endorsing soon. So I'm excited about that. I'm seeing an increase in participation among girls in our middle school sports, which is exciting. So, and I think some of the challenges with these sports coming along, some things you're going is facility use.
Yeah.
We have all these teams, but with limited space for teams to.
With the increase in sports and activities and what we have with middle schools, challenge now is the space provided for them to compete.
Yes,
which some could say is it's a good problem to have. But
yes,
it's getting young people involved in extracurricular activities, also coupled with that mentorship component, because the coaches also serve as mentors and counselors as well for them. So I see this as just a win-win situation all around, because it also gives them, as you know, a sense of belonging too.
Oh God,
and,
yes.
Just building that relationship amongst the team. So what advice would you give to students who are passionate about sports but also want to focus on academic and career goals outside of athletics?
Oh, I think during a presentation to the school board, Ms. Pollard presented that our student athletes are outperforming our students. They have better behavior in schools. Their attendance is higher. I was just reading an article recently out of Fortune magazine that 95%.
That's your magazine, is it?
No, unfortunately, I don't own. They have my name. That 95% of the CEOs in Fortune 500 companies participated in sports in high school.
Wow.
Yeah, and 47% of the presidents participating in sports. So that's exciting, to know that these students are well-rounded, because, like you say, they're learning different things.
And I think it helps to keep them disciplined and recognize when you have a schedule and regimen that you have to follow. My daughter, when she was in school, she was involved in competitive dance.
Yes.
That actually helped her. She was taking all these AP and dual enrollment classes, but her grades never slipped because she had a regimen and she stuck to it, and she knew in order to continue to compete, she needed to be a well-rounded student altogether. So I see nothing but benefits for having a young person involved and having a young person involved in extracurricular activities. So looking ahead, what are some key goals or initiatives for improving and expanding athletics in the division?
I think we've already started that. I think with the increase in middle school sports has definitely helped. We have some students who have never played particular sports that are out there on the team now, and it's just fun to see them having fun and being excited about that. So I think increasing our middle school sports will also increase participation once they get in high school, because they will stick with it. So that will increase our high school numbers. So I'm excited about that.
You see the increase in their self-worth and sense of belonging and self-esteem as well. So what role do you think the community plays in supporting our school athletic programs, and how can people get more involved?
Yes. One of the things that we're trying to implement this year with my ADs is we want our students to get involved with the community, each team to do a community service project. We want to see them out in community fairs and all. So once the community recognize our student athletes, then we feel they will come support us at athletic events. We want to get the local businesses involved, again, maybe to assist us with funding for athletic equipment and things that we need. So we want to get involved with the community to get them involved with us.
I actually think that's an excellent way of looking at it, getting the athletes out there in the community. For example, when we have little events where we're trying to support and get supplies for teachers and what have you, have cheerleaders and football players out there being a part of that process as well. It just shows an entire community-connected approach to how we go about doing things as well.
Sir.
So what achievements or success stories from our student athletes or athletic programs stand out to you?
Since I've been here, we've won several state championships, football, basketball, track teams. But one award that kind of stands out to me, award that Bethel has won the last couple of years, is a Claudia Dotson Stay in the Game Award. I mean, this means all of our teams had no ejections. They showed good sportsmanship. I mean, this area is known for its athletic talent and all, but we want to show that we have good character as well, too. And I'm always excited, not to share anything too quick, but I believe we may have 2 teams up for that award this coming year.
Well, that is outstanding. You would think, in a question like that, folks are going to immediately focus on championships and particular athletes who have gone on to do great things, in which we take great pride in. Don't get me wrong, but equally important is that whole character
Yes.
and being a good sport about the athletic component of this. Of the work that we have in place as well. So as we wrap up, Coach, is there anything you would like parents, students, or staff to know about athletics in our schools?
Yeah, I just want to encourage our parents to encourage their students to get involved in athletics, and be there to support them. I think that's important to see them support the students out there, at a young age, and then stick with it through the high school careers, and also encourage the student athletes to participate in more than one sport. Right. That way you be coached by different people, you meet different friends and all that. And like you said, it gives you a sense of school pride, and I think those type of people do very well for us.
Yeah, I think it helps you to interact with very diverse cultures.
Yes,
Depending on what
exactly.
sport you play, like you mentioned, you meet different folks all together. Your thoughts on, I guess we have quite a few athletes. I know we have quite a few athletes who go on to college and then quite a few who've gone on to pros as well. So how are you establishing or maintaining relationships with folks who have gone on to do great things, and how are they providing that support back to the community? What are your thoughts on
that? And that's one of the things I discussed with my ADs recently in a meeting they have contact with these former students. So we're encouraging them to stay in contact. So when they're back in town, we would like them to come to talk with our student athletes about, what they went through and the things they dealt with throughout their career, because, for example, Tyron Taylor has been doing a great job giving back to the community. Right. So, we're trying to bring those guys back to help the people that are coming behind them.
Exactly. And I think we have benefited immensely from quite a few athletes who have come through Hampton City Schools and have gone pro, and whether they are Hall of Famers or coaching now, but they don't think twice about making certain that they're giving back to our community as well. And it's a beautiful thing, and I think it speaks volumes to us helping in that whole development process of a young person, and not just looking at what they bring to the table as an athlete, but also as a person, and providing that wraparound approach with the entire community to say, hey, you're part of us, you're a Hamptonian for life.
Yes.
It means a lot.
Yes, it does.
Anything else, Coach, you'd like to share before we close out?
No, again, I just want to thank you for having me, and this has been great. I'm always excited to talk about Hampton City Schools athletics.
Yes, sir, and we're very fortunate to have you. So thank you, Mr. Fortune, for being here today and highlighting our athletic program and the value of a student athlete. I'm certain our listeners have taken away valuable insights from our discussion. And to our listeners, remember, education is the most powerful weapon you can use to change the world. As one community, one transformation, we will ensure academic excellence for every child, every day, whatever it takes. We will catch you next week.
Listen to learn more about Hampton City Schools. New episodes of HCS Talks drop on Thursdays. Subscribe and listen to HCS Talks. HCS Talks is a Hampton City Schools production.